All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good week. We are back talking some UFC. My man, Big Marley, and myself, who we got in chat right now, Nate D, the first one this week. Hope you're doing well. I wish I could come in here and be like, yeah, we got a phenomenal card, this and that. It was a usual, like a fight night, 13 fight card. That's what it seems like we've had recently, like some mid fights. But if we have 13 fights, that's really all I care about for DFS. MMA is pretty much a combination game. The more combinations you have, the more fighters available. Usually ownership more spread out, easier to get to the top with less people. We lost the fight, Alan Nascimento and Mitch Raposo this morning, so that brings us from 13 to 12. Still the magic number 12, so I'm not going to be too sad. But, yeah, we go from probably card of the year so far last week to, yeah, pretty mids card. But, hey, at least we got Winnipeg, Canada. We have a live crowd. It's not at the Apex, so. Yeah, it's fights on my screen on Saturday. I won't complain, but not the best card, I'll say, from the top. Big Marley, what are your thoughts on this one last week? If you have anything to say about that, that was crazy. And then, yeah, how we doing?
Yeah, Josh Hokett's my favorite fighter. He's the biggest star in the UFC. And, yeah, this is a tough card to come back to after that one. I feel like if I'm not doing well on this card, I'm turning it off before the main event happens and finding something else to do with my Saturday night. So, hopefully I am live going into this main, at least the main card. Otherwise, this is going to be a tough card to sit through. I mean, a handful of the fights on this card, I don't really care to watch, and I also don't even care too much for DFS either. So we'll talk it out. I hope that it is a sweat, and then I'll start to care about all of them. But there's a couple fights I'm hoping you could sway me on caring about, because I'm going to need some more underdogs to like on this card.
All right, maybe I can help you a little bit with that. It's tough, but this is what it's all about. Matt's Ancient Coins. Happy to catch you guys live. I'll be there for my first event. Lower level names, but I'm still excited. Matt, it is, I think Big Marley's on the same page. It's my favorite sporting event for sure. And I didn't grow up in MMA. Like, I grew up around all the other sports. It is unlike any other thing. I mean, you get like 8 hours of violence. There's plenty of drinking throughout. I mean, two people trying to kill each other at the end of the day, and it feels everyone around you just has that same vibe. They all love the same thing. It's a phenomenal time. Big Marley, what's your favorite sporting event?
Yeah, I mean, if you can get like a big playoff game in a big sport, I'd say that. But just any random event, definitely UFC, especially if it's not a great card. Like, being there live, it's still going to be awesome.
Amazing.
Whereas watching it on TV might not be so awesome. But the atmosphere, no doubt, is going to be sick in there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, UFC for me, no doubt. Look at that. First time, too, and it's my birthday. Happy birthday to you, and, yeah, you too. I'm very jealous. Enjoy the card. It's been a little too long since I've been to my last one, but, man, I'm very jealous over here. Nate D, Mateus, Mike, YSN. Yep, there we got everyone. Mills, YSN. Hope everyone's having a great day. Now you guys got me fired up, because I'm putting myself in your shoes, and I would be very pumped for Saturday. Any broad slate overview on this 12-fighter before we go fight by fight?
Yeah, I mean, the real summary, I feel like a lot of the ownership is going to be spread to the top 3 priced fighters, and then you find your underdogs from there.
Yeah, Barbosa 9,400, definitely agree. 9,300 Malott, 9,200 Jasmine. Yeah, always interesting to see. Last week, the wrestler Mateus Gamrot definitely got steam. One thing I want to say about last week's card, just the MMA game theory itself, we got a lot right. There's plenty of winners in the Discord. Shout out to a lot of people, but no first place finishes in our Discord were all the way in first. And that's because there was only like one person, I think, in both contests. And what it came down to was Vicente Luque, which just shows in MMA, one change, a 6% owned fighter, literally one pivot, one low owned person could be the difference between second place, which I believe is 3,700 with a decent amount of people. And again, you take that all day. Plenty of our members were in that. First place was 100,000. Is it? I don't know exactly if it was a 1v1 Luque and 700 more, whatever it is, but that's how you have to think about the sport. Is it 3x payout? Is it a 10x payout? Is it 20x payout? What's the payout you are expecting to get when you do make a change like that to Luque. For this guy, it was a lot of extra money and 100K solo, and then that pays for a lot of losses down the line. So even when we say on this card, like, we don't like a guy necessarily, it's kind of based on how many teams you play. Most of the pros, when they play 150, they're playing every single fighter in chalkier lineups. They're getting different, like a Luque, like a Leaving Money, and got this guy 100,000 richer. So this sport, NFL showdown, NBA showdown, tennis, certain sports like that with his limited combinations, it means more. So just a little rant there that I want to talk. But we're trying to mix in our fight knowledge, how we think the fights go, and the theory of DFS to get to the top by yourself. So let's get into it. First fight of the night, Jamey Siraj minus 256 taking on Yannis plus 216. Minus 150 for this fight to finish. Siraj plus 115 inside the distance. Yannis plus 385. And we have a pure grappler to start it off. Siraj plus 115 inside the distance. He's plus 180 by sub. Open plus 210. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a striker versus grappler matchup where Siraj is going to need to get this fight to the ground, and Yannis is the striker. I think that Yannis has some pretty good hands. He's a solid boxer. He's got fast hands, slick hands, and he could also knock Siraj out. But his weakness is being taken down and just kind of being stuck on his back at sometimes. And I think that that's exactly what Siraj is going to want to do. He will spend a little bit of time on his feet, but it's not pretty. So in this matchup, I think he's going to be forced to wrestle early and often. So my preferred play from the start is going to be Siraj, because I think if he wins, it's going to be grappling heavy. I think it could be a submission or a wrestling-based decision and still score well. He's also going to be lower owned than those other three favorites that I mentioned earlier. So I do like Siraj. But on the other end, Yannis is going to be a good play too, because he helps you afford those other three guys that we had talked about, or well, two guys and one girl that we talked about. You're just going to be a little bit chalky if you're going to those same types of lineups. I already tried to build a couple of them, and I just felt like I was eating a bunch of chalk as I was building them. So you got to think of ways to get different on this card. Maybe it is similar to last week where you leave money on the table, go to a Luque. Instead of getting a Siraj, you go to somebody a little bit lower, or not Siraj, Yannis, and you go a little bit lower than him. But I think that I'm always interested in DFS when it is striker versus grappler matchup, because you have the potential for 100 points from whoever that winner is. But I think Siraj gets the win.
Yeah, for your last point is kind of why I'm in on this fight. It's the first fight of the night. Some people get more scared of that. It's minus 256, so Siraj a decent favorite at 9,100. And right now we have all three fighters, like you said, Jasmine, Malott, and Big Marley does her ownership over here. You have all three, Malott, Jasmine, and Barbosa, 40% plus ownership. That means Siraj is in the low 20s or somewhere around there. And if that's the case, he has as much upside, I think, as any of them in a vacuum. If you're a primary grappler, he's going to go out and try and look for a takedown right away. If Yannis gets back up, he's going to try another one. So if it does go his way and he pays off a minus 250 price tag, I think it's through the mat. Multiple takedowns, a first-round submission. Obviously has plenty of passes score. Plus 350 in round one for Siraj, a solid score. I'm fine dropping any of them to him. Again, you build a Malott or Barbosa team and you drop down and leave 300 or 200. That could be talking the one-way chop or no chops, one-way chop, two-way, etc. And then, yeah, for Yannis, like you said, a striker versus grappler. If he can't get the takedowns, Yannis will probably have the advantage on the feet. He's 7,100, and plus 385 for him to finish isn't bad at 7,100. So I'm in on this first fight. I'm overweight. It's minus 150 to finish. I will be cheering for a finish, and hope one of these two are on the optimal probably when it's all said and done. Yeah. All right, we'll keep it to the next fight on the card. Mid-tier fight, the closest price. Mark Vologdin taking on John Castaneda. So the cheaper fighter, AK Castaneda, now the favorite at minus 125. Mark plus 105. Plus 110 for this fight to finish. Both guys individual inside the distance prop is plus 270. So yeah, this line did flip. Mark opened minus 135 and now finds himself as a plus 105 underdog. This fight also opened plus 100 to finish. Now plus 110. So Castaneda has taken money and the over has taken money. You have it at 2-star, and I see it pretty similar. Most Castaneda fights I don't target too heavily in DFS. How do you see it?
Yeah, not a fight I'm interested in targeting. I am still interested in Castaneda. I picked him when he was an underdog, and I liked him because of the plus next to his name. now as a favorite, he's going to get a good amount of ownership. So I just don't really love eating that chalk when I don't think he's a likely high scorer. I think he could score well. I think he could get a finish, whether it be a knockout or a submission in this fight. But I could also see him scoring 60 points in the decision. And I think that's more likely than 100 points is. So I'm going to try to avoid this fight. Vologdin, he's just a real short striker. I mean, he'll throw heat. He'll also throw some volume too, but he's too small for me. He's also didn't look special at all. He's just winging bombs. And if one lands on Castaneda and puts him away, then he's going to score big. But if he doesn't knock him out, I think he's going to stay on the feet the whole time unless he's on his back. And I just don't see a big score in this one. So give me Castaneda as the pick, the preferred play, but I'm going to try and pass and look to other ways. Or really even leave Castaneda, go down to whoever we just talked about, Yannis instead. And that's your way to get different right there.
100% agree. What do you think Castaneda, or what would you set Castaneda's takedown prop at?
1.5.
Yeah. Because, like, if the only way I think he really gets there is if he just wrestles pretty heavily. Or, I mean, it's plus 270 to finish. If either of them bink, I think Mark's probably more likely for one-shot bink. But Castaneda probably could wrestle if he wants to in this one. If he starts chaining them is where there is upside. But 4 fights in the mid-tier, 2 are expected to finish. And the other fight, Gage Young and Thiago Moises, I prefer more than this one if having to choose. You have both 2 stars. I guess, yeah, I'll ask you right now. Would it be this fight or would it be that Gage Young Moises fight if you had to pick one?
I feel like I'm going to try and get away from both if I can. I guess, I mean, I'm not going to, I'd say Vologdin's my least favorite play of the 4. Maybe Castaneda's my favorite, but Moises has like the highest ceiling if he's smart. It depends on how he fights.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The rankings, like these are the worst 2 fights in the mid tier. This one would be my least favorite. I also think Castaneda could be getting probably not too much ownership, but if this line keeps moving, anytime you see a cheaper fighter as the favorite, if he has like a minus 140 next to his name at 8K, that's going to drive some ownership. And for tournaments, you're playing a ceiling game, so it wouldn't really make me like him too much more. Assuming his inside the distance stays, it would just make you want to get away from it even more. Or Vologdin would then be a little interesting maybe if you're talking like 15% with a plus 270 inside the distance prop if Castaneda was like 30 for leverage. But yeah, in a vacuum, not a fight either of us want to target much of. Even a worse fight than this one, in my opinion, is the next. Jamey-Lyn Horth, minus 145, JJ Aldrich, plus 125. Minus 500 for this fight to go the distance. So it opened minus 475, now minus 500. Horth, plus 400 inside the distance. Aldrich, plus 950. I'm passing on both sides. I guess my question to you, how often is 62 enough from JJ Aldrich at 7,300 this week?
Not often. I would say it would be like 20% or less if we knew she was going to score that. I mean, maybe 20% because maybe she's the key. You get her and then one of those big favorites or 2 of those big favorites in your lineup. I guess that could work. But I'm picking Aldrich to win just because I think I think it was wider when I first looked into it. But it's close to a pick 'em fight. Aldrich is a well-rounded fighter. She's good everywhere. She's just not great anywhere. She's also going to be smaller than Horth, less dangerous than Horth. And it's going to be in Canada where Horth is from. So the crowd's going to be on the Horth side too. So there's not a lot to like about Aldrich. Even if she wins, she's probably looking at 50 or 60 points. So I would rather look to other underdogs who I think have higher ceilings in their wins. Horth has the higher ceiling in the matchup, but $8,900 from Horth. The only reason you're playing her is because you want to try to win 100K solo. Weird shit happens in MMA. Maybe she gets a first-round finish and she's on that optimal lineup. But I'm going to X out Horth with limited lineups, and that's just one. I'm going to X out this fight, I think, just with limited lineups. And that'll help me narrow down my player pool if I do have 20 or less, like I typically do.
100% agree. The Aldrich stuff, like you mentioned, when you see 8,900, 7,300, the odds were definitely wider when you checked earlier. So Horth opened minus 300, and just on Monday, she was like minus 160, right around there. So, I mean, the line is Saturday, she was like minus 200. So, man, Aldrich has taken a good amount of money, and she's continued to all week. I guess, like like I have this as a fight fade right now. It feels kind of similar to Castaneda, where you're just playing for a basement score, a floor score, and a win. But at 7,300, it's possible that if Barbosa puts up 120, Malott puts up 115, like so many favorites win, and Aldrich is one of the few dogs. The problem with that is looking here, like minus 256 isn't too big. Closely line, 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 closely line. So dogs are supposed to bark to some extent, and if they do, almost all dogs have more upside. Horth's going to try and like push it against the cage, make it grimy. So I think I'm back to where I started, that it's a fight fade. But if I picked one, it would definitely be Aldrich, just because 7,300, maybe 60 gets you all the studs and is one of the only dogs. But yeah, playable for sure. I was going to mention one more thing. Oh, for Jamey-Lyn Horth, like I kind of like laughed, like maybe playing her round one prop plus 900. That's 10%. She might come in 12%, 13% in like the large field stuff. So if you want to just go that way, that's kind of what I mentioned from the top. Pros are playing every fighter usually to an extent in 150 teams. And that's the exact reason. It's a crazy sport. Random stuff happens. Even though it's a plus 900, that happens 10% of the time. And when that does happen, you have a chance to win a lot. But limited lineups like we usually play, I can't recommend Jamey-Lyn Horth. All right, next fight on the card. Melissa Croden minus 138. Daria Zhelezniakova plus 118. Plus 150 for this fight to finish. Croden plus 220 inside the distance. Zhelezniakova plus 500. Croden open minus 150. Got as low as minus 210. Zhelezniakova has taken money throughout the week. This fight also open plus 180 to finish, now plus 150. So money on the under and Zhelezniakova. How do you see this fight going? Zhelezniakova.
Another one I really just don't care for. Don't really want to watch it. I'm not against playing it in DFS, but that's just because they're going to be both low owned, and I think they can both score over 10x in a win. They're both primarily strikers, but it wouldn't shock me to see either one of them land a takedown or two just to target kind of the other's weakness. Croden should be the more likely wrestler in this one, though. She's more of the grindy type of fighter. She's sloppy on the feet, but she will push the pace and push forward. I think she's more likely to clinch up, though, more likely to go for takedowns. Zhelezniakova, I thought she just looks like the cleaner striker in tape that I watched. I just wasn't impressed with either one of them. So I said, give me the plus money side of this one. There's no way I'm laying like minus 170 or whatever it was on Croden. So I picked Zhelezniakova as my pick to win. She's also my preferred DFS play too. But this is just one where you're going to get either one of them at probably sub 15% ownership. Maybe not the underdog just because she's an underdog, but they're both low-level talent, and low-level talent can give up points to the other fighter. So I don't hate it as much in DFS as I do in real life.
Hey, I'm in on this fight. I would have like a 4-star. This is like my sneaky fight that's going to be low owned that is going to help me get different. And I'm worried that it might not be as low owned as you think. It's going to be low owned. Don't get me wrong, but I think because like you look at Croden's first fight in the UFC, she put up 123 DraftKings points. 99 significant strikes, 2 takedowns, a knockdown, control time. You mentioned it, like grimy. That's what she is. She'll come forward. I think this has a potential to be a sneaky, high-paced fight, and I love to see it open plus 180 and now plus 150 to finish because other people are saying the same. And I think if Croden, like you said, 2 low-level people going at it, if it's a high pace, that's almost like what you want because one of them might quit earlier. One of them just might be less shitty than the other, or whatever it may be. I think Croden can get takedowns, or at least I think she'll try to get takedowns. And if she doesn't have success, I think Zhelezniakova will have the advantage on the feet. 7,600, like I feel good about 80 at 7,600 this week. I think she has outs to probably 90 too. If Croden is not getting takedowns and she's just coming forward recklessly, I think Daria is the better striker there. And if Croden gets downhill, gets on top, starts wearing on her, I mean, points add up in bunches like we've talked about. So I'm in on both sides, and 8,600, 7,600 without ownership too much on either side and the ability to leave money and not loving the mid-tier that much, like the Castaneda fight and Gage Young we already talked about. Yeah, I'm in on this fight at relatively low ownership. So both sides I want to be overweight too. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, heavyweight fights. Gokhan, Saricam, minus 145, taking on Tanner Boser, plus 125. Saricam, or plus 100 for this fight to finish. Saricam, plus 180 inside the distance. Boser, plus 385. Gets the call back from the UFC. Yeah, kind of weird. He only had one fight outside the UFC, took a little time off. Now he's right back in there. Closely lined fights. See you have it a 3-star all the way around. So, yeah, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, probably just needed another Canadian. Called up Boser. He's never been anything special, but he'll bring a fun fight. Definite primary striker. He could put up a pace. He could also land a knockout. Not really. I wouldn't say he's a big time one punch power, but I think that the punches can add up, and he's like a more of a late knockout type of guy. Whereas Saricam is more powerful with his one punches. He's also our more likely wrestler in this one. But I think he's going to be lower volume. I also wasn't too impressed with him either. I could see this being a striking match for 15 minutes and the winner scoring 65 points. Or they're big boys. I could see either one of them landing a knockout and scoring 90 plus. So I just don't know what to expect in this one. I originally put it as a 4-star. I do like targeting this one. But I'm picking it to go the distance, and I picked Boser to win. So I feel like 65 from Boser are the most likely outcome. I'm okay with it, but I don't like it. So no. I'm going to more so – I haven't built lineups, so I guess I don't know how much of these underdogs that I'm trying to fade I'm going to be able to fade. But maybe you talk me into a little bit more Daria. I think I am planning on getting some Boser lineups. And Saricam, I mean, as a debut guy – you never know what to expect, but I think it's targetable. What do you think?
I think you broke it down great in the sense that I feel just like you. I mean, I'm very indifferent to it. But again, when you're comparing the mid-tier, I rank it, this next fight we're talking about, Valentin Leblanc, number 1. You have it that way too, 4-star. Then I have to come to this fight because I like this fight more than Gage Young, Moises, and Vologdin, Castaneda. Like, that's just what we're working on. Like, that's what we're working with on this card. I don't think you're going to have 6 players that are scoring 95 plus in the winner when it's all said and done with only 12 fights. So Saricam is my preferred play because I think if someone's scoring 90 plus, I feel more likely that it is Saricam because I do think he has the wrestling upside and plus 180 to finish. Whereas I think more Boser's wins could be in the 60s, stuffing takedowns, just outpointing them. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Boser won 30-27. He could do that and still score 65 points, though, just sticking and moving on the outside. So when hunting for upside, that's why I prefer Saricam, but he has 800 more when it's all said and done. And yeah, I thought the same thing. When I think of Tanner Boser, I don't think a power puncher, but he has 12 of his 22 wins are by knockout. And like you said, accumulation of damage and just you're heavy. I mean, they're heavy. When you connect on the chin and you're lunging forward, like you're going to hurt the other guys. So I don't think it'd be crazy if Boser does knock him out if he stuffs takedowns. So an easy way out is saying that I'm going to be pretty close to the field on both guys. 3-star all the way around. Usually that would be my take because you don't want this fight to end your night regardless of the outcome. But Saricam, I prefer played for upside. Indifferent to it. I rank it number 2 of 4 in the mid-tier, but that's not saying much. Like, definitely give me this Croden Daria fight over Boser Saricam for 100 piece right there. And again, it's plus 150 to finish for the other one and minus 140 for this one. But yeah, sometimes that's how it is. All right, next fight, my favorite mid-tier fight, Robert Valentin and Julien Leblanc. Looking at this one, Valentin minus 150, Leblanc plus 130, minus 215 for this fight to finish. Valentin minus 105 inside the distance, Leblanc plus 300. A lot of line movement in this one. Valentin opened plus 210, so it's minus 250 Leblanc, plus 210 Valentin, and now it is minus 150, plus 130. That is a lot of line movement, and my initial thoughts on this whole card was, when I checked, I do all my research, Tapology, set my own stuff. I didn't know this LeBlanc guy. I just like, all right, naturally, Valentin's a dog. He's 0-3 in the UFC, 11-6 as a pro. And I see all this steam on him. So all that told me right away before doing any research is this LeBlanc dude must be trash. If Valentin's the favorite over you and taking all that money, I don't know what the UFC is doing bringing in this LeBlanc guy. I'm picking Valentin. I think he can get him on the mat, put up a big score. You said a couple fights ago, 2 bad fighters going at it does not mean it's bad for DFS. I think that's the definition of this one. And if LeBlanc's a little better than we think and Valentin still cheeks, LeBlanc can put up 100, and that's surely optimal at 7,900. So crazy to say, this will be one of my highest owned fights on the card. Mid-tier minus 215 to finish 2, which comes out to number 3, I believe, most likely to finish. So yeah, LeBlanc is my thoughts exactly. But man, this is going to be funny, I think. How do you see it?
Yeah, LeBlanc's just not very good. Sloppy striker, lots of kicks, some decent knees, I guess. When he gets in close, he can hurt some people if he lands a kick or a knee, but really sloppy punches. And Valentin, he's looked like crap in the UFC too, but pre-UFC, I was pretty impressed with some of his film. He's got some nasty submissions. I thought his striking was more impressive or more clean, I guess, than LeBlanc's. If this is a striking match, it's not going to be a fun fight. But Valentin, I think his grappling is the best part of this entire fight, and he could submit LeBlanc, I think, in any round. Give me Valentin as my favorite play of all those people you talked about. I'm going to take him by submission. But I am worried about just both these guys sucking and it going to a decision and not scoring well at all.
I mean, yeah, it can. Like, I'm not going to be all in this fight, but at least it's plus 175 for that to happen instead of, two of the other ones are expected to go the distance. The Boser fight's like a coin flip. This fight did go, though, from minus 250 to finish to minus 215. So the over has taken money. And if it does go the distance, it's probably gross on the feet and not scoring much, which will lead me to some stars and scrubs lineup fully. And when I do go full stars and scrubs, I think is when JJ Aldrich becomes even more in play for me, since I'm just saying all 4 of these mid-tier fights, winner scores 70-something. You pick their winners right up top, and then, heck, maybe even 38 in a loss is better at 7,300 than 60 in a win at 8,400, just with what the upper tier does. And the more I'm thinking about this card, yeah, it can get nuts. So I would try not to hold hands with too many people on a card like this. I think it's a very high variance card like most is, and a lot of closely lined fights. So underdog should be barking to an extent. I have Valentin listed number 1 in the mid-tier. I have LeBlanc, in my opinion, listed number 2. So by far my favorite, though, to target. Next fight, we have the biggest favorites on the card, highest price, Marcio Barbosa minus 450, Dennis Buzukja plus 350, Barbosa minus 450, minus 700 for this fight to finish. Barbosa minus 350 inside the distance, Buzukja plus 500, Barbosa round 1 minus 110. I almost wish Barbosa was like 9,700, 9,600. Man, he's in a tier of his own for money line, for finish prop, and to finish in round 1 minus 110. If he gets a round 1 finish, I think you will sign up for that all day long on this card at 9,400. So I like it a lot. I think ownership will be there, though, which then kind of brings Buzukja back into play for a leverage play. And if he wins, the fight is obviously supposed to finish pretty early. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, good one to target because of Barbosa's just wild and reckless style. I mean, this guy's nasty. He's got some mean, dangerous hooks, big-time one-punch power. Like, he could put Buzukja to sleep, like, for minutes probably. And that's what I'm picking to happen is him to get a knockout, just land some big-time hook in the first round because he is going to be walking forward, hunting him down, trying to land that knockout shot. But he's also, like, willing to eat some shots to give that knockout blow. He doesn't really care about defense too much, and that could lead to him getting knocked out really in any round. I think the longer this fight goes, the more it could play into Buzukja's favor minute-wise. But Buzukja could knock him out in any round just because of that lack of defense on the Barbosa side. I just don't know that it's going to get there. I feel like that one of those he's just not going to like the punches, and they're going to be coming at him early. And I think the UFC probably wants Barbosa to win this fight. I think he could be a fan favorite type of style. So, again, I'm going to bet on the UFC being right. Give me Barbosa first round knockout.
Yeah, Barbosa's knocking him out. How much Buzukja are you going to have? 20 teams. How much will you play?
More than Aldrich. I think I'd rather take Aldrich down to Buzukja, but if I have 20 teams, 2 or 3.
I didn't even say from the top, and I almost kind of feel bad over here. Disservice. Big Marley, I know probably many know, but not all know, had a great week last week. Took down the qualifier, took down some other stuff. Like I said, a lot of Shipping Nation members did well. And, man, he needed Aldrich at the end. Do you want to tell the little story that you were telling me that I'm still laughing about?
I mean, yeah, I was actually on vacation, and I mean, it was a good night. I was texting you. I was like, dude, do I hedge out here? Had a little bit too many beers. I don't know what the heck to do, but I have no money on Jiri, and I got all this money. I got bets. I could win this if Aldrich wins. And then I ended up hedging a little bit on Jiri. And when I saw the ACL get blown, I was like, there's no freaking way. And I watched for like 2 more seconds. He's like falling over, and I turn it off. And then I start walking up the stairs, and I get a text from you like, let's fucking go. And I'm like, no way, there's no way. And I like turn on Twitter real quick, and I see him get knocked out. So yeah, I was not expecting to win. It was like one of those, I don't think that's ever happened where I turned it off and then I win. Like that's my weirdest sweat, I guess. It was really fun leading up to it. It didn't even feel like a sweat. Kind of just felt like how the night was supposed to go. I only had 4 lineups. Felt like I already had the nuts. Didn't need to build anymore. But I wish I had some more Luque because I picked him to win. If I did make 150, I'm confident I would have split with that guy, but dang, I wasn't going to make 150 on that card.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so Big Marley, we're texting and all that, and Big Marley goes, wow, blown ACL. And my phone's down. When I watch the fights, I'm not trying to – because, yeah, we were talking about the hedge in between, and then I usually put them down. Wow, blown ACL. And I didn't even – like, I texted, holy shit, dude, insanity, what a sweat. He goes, oh, my gosh, I turned it off. And I was just going crazy. It's all this money, live final, $10,000 seats, or at least what it's worth, all of that. I've never imagined turning off a fight. But, I mean, yeah, it's – Yuri just absolutely gave it away. Hokit with fight was amazing. Paulo Costa fight. Padilla early on against Medeiros. Like, that card was so, so good. So, yeah, my bad. I should have said a congrats right from the get-go. I said congrats to a lot of members, a lot of good screenshots. You were one of them getting a final seat. So, good stuff right there. Hopefully we can keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, mid-tier fight. We kind of talked about that. We didn't like much. Gage Young, -155. Thiago Moises, +135. +115 for this fight to finish. Gage Young, +235 inside the distance. Moises, +325. This fight's open, +130 to finish. Now +115. Gage Young open, the underdog at +111. Now finds himself as a -155 favorite. You mentioned earlier Moises would be your preferred side. So, yeah, why is that? What do you think happens in this fight?
Well, I mean, I don't know what happens, but I think the most talented fighter and the biggest edge in this fight is going to be Moises' grappling, submission grappling, just overall grappling. I think he could look like a -400 favorite in this one if he was smart, had a good game plan, had good coaching, whatever his problem is. I don't know why, like, he just refuses to wrestle sometimes, but he's a really good grappler, and he's dangerous on the ground too. I think he could dominate Young in this fight. But he also might not land one single takedown, and I think Young's the better striker. I also think Young is the better wrestler, so he could maybe use his wrestling to keep it on the feet. Moises isn't a good wrestler, but if he attempts to wrestle, I feel like he could drag Young to the ground and just have his way with him and submit him in the first round, score 100, 105, 110 points possibly, depending on how long he's on the ground, as long as it's not too quick of a submission and after the first minute. But I do like Moises for that reason, but I just don't trust him to wrestle. I also don't think he's a good enough wrestler to consistently wrestle. It's more targeting him for that first round submission equity. But I'm picking Young to keep this fight on the feet and win a striking match and probably not even score 10x. So that's why I have it as a 2-star. But I think it's got potential to score well on either side. Young, just because Moises isn't a striker, and if he could keep it there, I think he could knock him out. He could also land some decent volume. But I think he'll be worried about that takedown, and he's not going to land that much volume. So I think the most likely optimal side is Moises.
Yeah, I can't argue anything. Thiago Moises is always the guy that I want to back because you just see such high highs from him. Like you mentioned, I mean, Michael Johnson, the fight's not going his way. It gets to the ground. He grabs an ankle. He turns over. Johnson taps quickly. Like, he always has the quick out to just grab something and the fight be done, which obviously scores. But, man, he just cannot figure out how to get takedowns or at least, like, go for that game plan. So then he can't get it to his best spot, which is the mat. Then on the feet, he's so short. I guess these guys are the same height and reach, but he doesn't use his distance well, and he just relies on kicks, which he does have good leg kicks, but I think Gage Young has the upside to counter those naked leg kicks and then kicks and put him out. Like plus 235 is 29.9% for a finish for Gage Young. For that reason, he is my preferred play, but a third round knockout might not be enough. It might be. I would take it at 8,400, but I think the pace will be slow on the feet. I don't think he's going to wrestle. I don't think dragging Moises to the ground would be smart. So yeah, then maybe I was thinking Young was my preferred play for the upside because I think he knocks out Moises more than Moises gets like those 85 plus points. But when Moises does 7,800, it goes a lot further. So I'm kind of torn on this one again. I know I just don't like it too much. I prefer Valentin Leblanc a lot more. And then I prefer like Croden Daria right here. I prefer Saricam over Young. Oh, man, Boser Moises is tough. Moises has a better finishing prop and he wants to get it to the ground. So maybe Moises over Boser, but again, we're comparing a really tough mid-tier. I'm talking more of it out because going from 13 fights, Nascimento Raposo down to 12 does change a lot more than you think when you're thinking of what scores would be acceptable from like certain fighters on a card like this. So I don't love this fight. I think Young's still my preferred play because plus 235 to finish is good, and his inside the distance prop has been going the right way. Moises has been going the wrong way. But yeah, Moises, if he gets it to the mat, he could look like a big favorite, like you said. All right, we'll keep it rolling to another person. If they get it to the mat like Jasmine can, she can put up a big score, and she is minus 300 taking on Karine Silva, who's plus 250, plus 180 for this fight to finish. Jasmine plus 350 inside the distance. This fight's plus 180 to finish. Jasmine plus 350 inside the distance. Silva plus 375. This fight open plus 200 to finish. Now plus 180. So the under is taking some money. Jasmine open minus 250 favorite. Now minus 300. So little money on the under, money on Jasmine. Do you think she just dominates the wrestling against Silva? Can Silva get a take or a submission off her back? Because I do think she will almost accept takedowns and then just try and throw whatever she can up.
I think she could. I don't know how likely it is with her in like off her back. I think more of a dominant position would be good, or if she's like grabbing a neck off a takedown. But yeah, it's Jasmine's wrestling. I'm always into Jasmine for DFS because of her style. She's a high-paced wrestler. She can rack up, 3 to 6 takedowns in any given matchup. So I do like her. I'm going to like her here for sure. But Silva's the more dangerous fighter in this one. If she can get a submission on the ground, that's going to score no matter what round it's in, probably enough. But she's also the better striker, I think. She's also the more dangerous striker. She could finish JJ anywhere. So at 7K, I think Silva has a good chance at the optimal lineup if she wins the fight. But I think she's going to be on her back for most of the fight, and I'm picking JJ to win a unanimous decision and still score over 90 points. I think she also has the most 120-point upside on the card. So I'm definitely going to be on the JJ side, but that's going to put me on more Silva than I would want to, just as a pure hedge.
I have nothing to argue. Like, Jasmine's going to want to get takedowns. Silva has poor takedown defense. I think she has success. Even though if this, like, you almost want her fights almost to go the distance, to get the full 15 minutes of wrestling control time. And I do think Silva's going to try and be squirmy, throw up submissions and all of that, which could lead to Jasmine getting more advantageous positions to maybe get a finish or just do a lot of damage and not just lay and pray. So yeah, I definitely like Jasmine. The problem is, it's not a problem. It's actually kind of good, especially if you like Jasmine that much. Malott, 9,300, Barbosa, 9,400. If you go Barbosa teams, just go to Jasmine. Even Malott, people always like the 5 rounds and go right to Jasmine. That is a way you can get a little different. If you want to take it a step further, and I will be doing this, Siraj in the first fight, he wants to get it to the mat. He wants to wrestle. He wants to grapple. So I think Siraj, all 4 of these, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them were the highest scores on the slate. And obviously, the lowest owned, the cheapest is Siraj. So that checks a lot of boxes. Jasmine, probably the 3rd lowest owned of the top 3 and the cheapest. So leaving money, and Jasmine's going to get ownership, but a little ownership discount can eliminate some dupes when it's all said and done. I'll be playing some Silva too for sure. 7K. If Jasmine can't get takedowns, if she does get on top, which I don't expect her to out-wrestle Jasmine, but I don't think a submission off her back's maybe the craziest thing. Silva's dangerous. I do think Jasmine rolls in this one, though. 3 fights left. Appreciate it. Everyone hanging out. Again, all we ask, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And let me show this real quick to shipitnation.com if you have not checked this out. This is what our homepage looks like. In the bottom left, if you want to join the nation. You can see a lot of different sports going on right now. NBA playoffs, been great so far. Playing games. PGA Showdown. You can get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you still have 3 days to take advantage. MLB, of course, going on. MMA, NASCAR, and NHL playoffs. 6 sports going on. If you want to give us a try, you have not already. I think the best deal, 5 days for $19. Get you Discord. Get you access to SaberSim. If you're just wanting MMA, obviously almost every single week, the sport is single sport. We do have options now. Less than $1 a day you can get in for the MMA. Only $20 more. Get you SaberSim as well. Get you access any of this to the Discord. If you know you'll be with us the whole time. The annual is cheapest and the best deal out there. I mean, look at that. You cannot beat these deals. Projections, ownership, full slate plan, tier rankings, education video, more education, MMA. Big Marley and I talked for an hour and a half, answered some questions there. So we'd love to have you, and definitely do get in the Discord if you do join. All right, let me get back to this. 3 fights left. We got Mandel Nalo taking on Jai Herbert. Nalo minus 170, Herbert plus 145. Minus 200 for this fight to finish. Nalo minus 120 inside the distance. Herbert plus 405. Man, Herbert has been so disappointing as of late. Just boring fights. As you can see, 3.07 significant strikes per minute, 0.43 takedowns per 15. I'll always think of Jai Herbert and his head kick knockdown against Ilya in an insane fight when Ilya went up to 155. But he just wants to bounce around the outside, make it boring. Can Nalo push the pace and make this a fun fight?
Yeah, I mean, I like this fight because of the Nalo side. He's a finisher. I think he's finished all of his wins, and he can finish on the feet or the ground. He's going to be the more well-rounded, all-around fighter, and he's kind of wild and unpredictable, and he's dangerous when you wouldn't expect. Like some of his punches, you wouldn't think is going to knock the guy out clean, but they land hard. So I do like the Nalo side of this, but Herbert's a really good striker. I mean, he's a tactician on the feet. He is good, and the longer it goes, the more he's going to start to read Nalo. And I think he's live for a knockout in any round. But you're playing for the knockout. You need all those bonus points from the knockout. You need the knockdown too. And if he doesn't get it, he's just not going to score well. He is a low output fighter. He's going to be trying not to get hit. He's got a poor chin. So he's going to be on his bike trying to stay on the outside and not get taken down, not get knocked out. But he could knock out Nalo just with one kick at any moment in this fight. And I think that puts him in play at 7,400. So I'll have Herbert lineups, but my preferred play is Nalo. I think he will get ownership, but he is another kind of great play away from those more owned guys or fighters that we already talked about on the card. And I think Nalo will be one of my higher owned fighters on the card. And similar to Silva, that's going to put me on a little bit more Herbert as a pure hedge.
All that makes sense. I mean, Nalo, one of the best round one props, open plus 250, now plus 225. That's 30%, 30.8% to be exact, for him to win in round one. That just shows, I mean, he can outscore Malott, Barbosa, Jasmine, you name it. So I'm definitely going to play Nalo. He's a finisher. Like you said, he'll push the pace. But the reason and it's minus 200 for the fight to finish. The Herbert side, like I mentioned, it's just he wants to dance around. He wants to leg kick, jab, pick you, or like make you make a mistake, which Nalo could do. If he overextends himself, one counter from Jai could put him away. It's just, man, do I really want to bet on just like you have to get a knockout? Because even if he wins a decision, I'm not going to love it. 20% for him to get a finish, 7,400. Maybe I'll have like 10% or something, 15. Like I'm going to play a little bit, but I don't want to go overweight Jai. I want a good amount of Nalo though. And I'd be fine. Mike Malott all the way down to Nalo and leave 500. You're sacrificing a 5-round favorite. You're giving up money line value. I'm good with it. when it's all said and done. Because when we get to the main event, I think Malott could get a second or third round knockout and not score enough at a very high ownership. So yeah, I'm in on Nalo. I don't love Herbert, but there's worse plays out there. Co-main event time, very interesting one for DFS because we've had a lot of line movement in it. Charles Jourdain -130, Kyler Phillips +110, +120 for this fight to finish. Jourdain +240 inside the distance. Phillips +325. Charles Jourdain open -170. Got as low as he was -171 on Monday. Now finds himself as -130 favorites. Phillips taking money, and what people are going to see is a $1,200 price difference. I think Phillips is going to get steam. We know the story with Kyler Phillips. It's rare to see him as an underdog. It's weird. He's very talented, but yeah, he cannot manage his cardio for 15 minutes. So who do you think wins this one, and how do you think they win it?
Yeah, I'm kicking myself for not betting Phillips. When I looked at this on Sunday, I was like, man, this line is definitely too wide. And I even said in my breakdown that I think it's too wide because he's coming off of 2 losses. Had this fight happened before those 2 losses, I feel like the line would have been flipped. I mean,
he's like -200.
Something like that. Yeah.
Books loved Kyler Phillips. Always just loved everything about Kyler. Every single fight he was in, it felt like a little crazy, but man, it's been someone that they've really liked for sure. You can find those teams in all sports where you just think they certain books or whatever overvalue certain things. I think Kyler Phillips is one of them, which is why I was surprised to see him this big of a dog. But yeah, he was that big of a dog. People are figuring it out now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm picking Phillips to win. I like that he had the plus next to his name. I mean, now that the line is closed up, he's going to get a lot of ownership. Jourdain's going to possibly be under-owned. Jourdain could knock him out in any round. He could also submit him in any round. But I think that Phillips is the better wrestler. I also think Phillips is the higher-paced fighter in the first round, possibly the second round too. But he slows down because of his style. He can wrestle at a decent pace, but he also uses a lot of unnecessary movement, like some spinning stuff that he doesn't need to throw. But by the time he hits the third round, after he's done all that wrestling and all the movement on the feet, he's definitely going to be at a slower pace. And Jourdain should still be at the fine, pace he was at in the first and second round. The third round would probably favor Jourdain here. And I'm giving it to Phillips 29-28. Hopefully he already has done enough. At 7,500, I would think that he's going to be fine. He's going to score more than 10x here. But Jourdain, 8,700, I think you're going to need a finish to score not only over 10x, but to make the optimal lineup over all those big favorites and Nalo and Valentin. So I'm just not going to get maybe any Jourdain with 20 or less lineups and just really take my stand on Phillips here. He'll be my favorite underdog on the card.
He's mine too, but I think he's everyone. So then that kind of makes me a little more reserved. Like if we're talking 35% Kyler Phillips in tournaments, I think that's a little high, and that could be the case. And I'd want to find pivots. Jourdain, yeah, it's kind of tough because I don't think you're going to wrestle in this one. He could spend time off his back. But if you go I always like taking it from you. What's his inside the distance prop? +240. What's +240? 29%. 29% versus his ownership, which might be high teens. If you just want to look at it that way, like a math problem, he could be under-owned. And then if Phillips does lose, a lot of people go down with the ship that way. So that's going to be one I have to think about more and more. To be honest, at this point, instead of being a -130 favorite, I almost want it to be -110. So ownership just gets even farther on the Phillips side and less on the Jourdain side. And then I'm just getting maximum leverage. So yeah, I'm going to play some Jourdain. When I play him, I'm probably playing like a Mike Malott, or I'm probably playing the Valentin fight. I'm doing something pretty chalky that he's the reason I'm doing it. But I'm going to play Phillips and find ways to get different with him. Play Malott, drop him down to Siraj. Plug in Castaneda, drop him down to Yannis, like you said. Just random stuff like that is how I'll be playing Kyler Phillips teams, because he could win a decision and score 90. Like he has good output. He can wrestle, and that's what you want for a $7,500 dog. Main event time. I appreciate everyone's supports. Very interesting one that also had a lot of line movement. So Mike Malott opened -335. A day later was -600 and stayed there for about a week before it went minus 500, minus 425, minus 375. And Gilbert Burns has continued to take money all week. Now, minus 270, or minus 270 is Malott, plus 230 is Burns, minus 500 for this fight to finish. Malott minus 240 inside the distance, Burns plus 400, Malott in round 1 plus 235. All I'll say is, like, I think you can fade this fight. I don't think I'll come to you and ask how much you think Malott wrestles, but Burns, like, Chimaev didn't even wrestle Gilbert Burns. Like, the jiu-jitsu and all of that, I think the easiest path is Malott striking. Burns' chin is questionable, but what if it goes out in round 3? Is a Malott round 3 knockout enough? I mean, I'll take a chances it's not at ownership, so I will not have 100% of this fight. I think multiple high-priced fighters, like we talked about, have upside. Now, if Gilbert Burns wins, it's very hard to see him not being optimal. So it's really just pivots in the upper tier. When I'm fading this fight, it's not pivots off of Gilbert Burns. What do you see in this fight? How do you see it going?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't think you have to target it. I don't think Malott wrestles in this one, not really at all. I don't think he will be looking to wrestle unless Burns is gassed out. I do think he could be safe in top control, but Burns is the more dangerous grappler in this one. The line was too wide for sure. Now it's definitely about right. I mean, maybe even on the Malott side at this point in Canada, this is one the UFC wants him to win, but it's just not going to be that easy. Like, Burns is a good striker, but he has a weak chin. He's also declining for sure. He's at the end of his career. Malott's going to be the better striker, the more aggressive striker, way more dangerous early. And then he's also going to have the better tank the longer this fight goes, I would imagine, too, with Burns at 39 years old. I don't really know what his motivation's like at this point. So I'm picking Malott to get a first-round knockout, and he is going to score well with the first-round knockout. But if he doesn't get a first-round knockout, maybe any round after that could possibly not be enough, especially at his ownership against the people he has to compete against. So even picking him with the first-round knockout, I'm not against being underweight to Malott or being underweight to the fight period. But as you mentioned, if Burns wins, he's going to be on the optimal lineup. I don't know how he wouldn't be on the optimal lineup. It could be a one-punch knockout. It could be a submission in the first round. And if he wins the decision, he's going to score more than 10x as well. So definitely fine. If you like Burns to win, you should be all over that side. But I'm kind of leaning Malott first-round knockout or pass on the fight and let everyone else eat up on that ownership.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm on the Burns side, or going to be passing for the most part. I'm going to be underweight Malott. I mean, he's round 1 for him to finish plus 235, 30%. He's going to come in roughly 50, even if it's like low 40s, mid 40s. I just think there's enough in the upper tier that you can get different with, leave money. And I prefer Barbosa for 100 more. So to be honest, I want the little ownership discount if there is, but I know fights or whatever, and I'm not going to leave the 100. If I use Saber Sim in that, I don't go through every single lineup. But if I was hand building, I would rather leave 100 with Barbosa than leave 100 with Malott. So I'm going Barbosa over Malott in a vacuum, and I think that could be a decision this week. But yeah, I think Jasmine, I think Siraj, and I think Nalo all have the upside in the upper tier that for less money that could outscore him. So yeah, I don't think he wrestles. Only plus 235 to win in round 1. Second round knockout, third round, fourth. Very well might not be enough. Gilbert Burns, though, for sure going to have some of him. Just like Luke, he was in the 6Ks. If you get a dog down there that wins and scores pretty well, the whole optimal leaving money is wide open. Obviously, Burns going to be a lot higher owned than Luke, but the same point stands. A lot easier to leave money. And he has a lot of upside there. So Burns, my preferred play. Very curious to see if this line keeps moving, though. You can see it was minus 600 on Tuesday. It was minus 330, and now it's minus 270. So money has not stopped rolling in on the Burns side. Fingers crossed we keep all 12 fights, because I will say if we lose one more, this card's going to go to straight garbage. There's no other way around that. But if there's 12 fights, we got a live crowd. We had 2 people in the comment section that'll be there. I am super jealous of you guys. Definitely enjoy it. Because, yeah, you're going to blink and you're going to be walking home. You're going to wake up the next day with how much fun you had, and you probably won't go for a long time. At least that's how it usually goes over here, and then I get sad even thinking about it. So enjoy it for sure. Hopefully you see a great card. Hopefully your DFS lineups and your Shipping Nation logos are near the top. Big Marley, final thoughts before we get on out of here.
Yeah, gonna need a sweat to make this one a fun one, but hopefully it's there. Good luck to you, Title. Good luck to everybody listening. Enjoy the fights if you're going to it. But yeah, good luck. Let's hope for a good one.
Yeah, let's ship it just like Big Marley did last week and like many members did as well. We will see you in the Discord. Again, shipitnation.com. Join the nation. Single sport MMA packages, 5 days for $19. You can all check that out. Again, Ship It Nation. Right here, join the nation. All of our packages right there. For Big Marley, I'm Titletown. Be safe. Good luck this weekend. Peace.